Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC Evening News. In our top story tonight, the Ministry of Health is deploying teams to clean up areas affected by problems at the South Coast sewage treatment plant. Word of this tonight from Minister of Health John Boyce, who is also promising that maintenance will be a top priority at the facility.
I've instructed the Chief Medical Officer to have that team visit the western end, that is in the Gentle Breeze area, if we're going to pardon the reference to the business place, but that area, with a view to helping to expedite the cleanup. We need to get drainage on board, as I said.
The minister was speaking over the weekend in the wake of vocal concerns from residents and business people in the Worthing area who claimed that leakage from the plant was severely harming them.
Maintenance should have been applied to that plant. The kind of interventional maintenance should have been applied to that plant at a much earlier stage. And I certainly regret the fact that we have allowed the situation to reach the point where it has affected so many people. And as I've said, I empathize entirely with the population who have been affected. Christchurch West, Christchurch South, Worthing, etc., and the business places.
And immediately following the evening news, tonight's News Extra will feature the full statement from Health Minister Boyce on the sewage problem. There appears to be progress in the ongoing saga involving a pay increase for airport workers. The contentious issue has spurred many at the Grantley Adams International Airport to engage in strike action this year. But there seemed to be some resolve coming out of a meeting led by the National Union of Public Workers today. Denise Blackman was there.
The meeting started just after 2 this afternoon. In attendance, top NUPW officials and the airport CEO and team, and they seemed ready for business.
What we have here this afternoon is just a continuation of the negotiations that we would have been having. Of course, we hope to achieve the percentage that we would have placed on the table. If not, then we would have to go back to the drawing board and decide what we would do in order to make sure that the workers of the Grantley Adams International Airport receive a salary increase.
Some months ago, the union weakened its stance on demands of a 3.5% increase, saying a lower alternate figure would still satisfy workers. Whatever was decided upon, it seemed to sit well with representatives from the union, including General Secretary Rosalind Smith, who emerged from the meeting more than an hour later in good spirits.
That we had positive talks this afternoon. However, we will have to report to our membership tomorrow before we can make a broader statement on the negotiations. So we are happy so far how things have gone, and it would be unfair to go public before we deal with our membership in terms of acceptance or non-acceptance of our proposals.
Union shop steward and guard at the airport, Tracy Paris Beckles, was also satisfied.
Well, the meeting went very well. I am pleased with the outcome, but unfortunately I can't say anything more than that.
As it stands, all is looking well regarding the increase.
When we meet with our members and there is a decision, I don't think that we would have to return for this year.
The union will meet with its membership at 10:30 a.m. Denise Blackman, CBC News.
Education Minister Ronald Jones believes trade unions and educational authorities can work harder to avoid disputes in future. Mr. Jones made the comment as the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union and his ministry remain at loggerheads over the marking of school-based assessments, or SBAs. He was speaking as the Caribbean Examinations Council held its staff appreciation and awards ceremony at the Accra Beach Hotel.
People who look after the interests of members and even trade unions or staff associations or whatever need not see leadership of organizations as working against their better interests or their best interests, but find opportunity where you can have constant conversations. So sometimes even before an issue arises, you can spot the issue downstream and you can work to resolve that issue. They're not resolved in the instant necessarily, because there are other competing forces that are being brought to bear, including the force of necessary resources to manage the entire project.
Staff reaching 5, 10, 15, 20 and 25 years received special awards for their service over the years and were encouraged to continue to give of their best on the job. Andrea Mason Gill received a special award for CXC Employee of the Year. Mr. Jones praised the organization, describing it as a shining example of regionalism.
This body has stood the test of time, and it has done well, extremely well. Caribbean institutions tend to plod, and if they don't plod, they collapse, by and large. The federal experiment collapsed, and we're still trying to make sense of the Caribbean single market and economy with all of the various nuances and issues that confront us as nation states trying to create an overall body to manage the difficulties in nation states. But CXC, good foundation, good growth, etc., continues to be a beacon, and I've said this already, in Caribbean togetherness and Caribbean unity.
Minister of Culture Stephen Lashley is tonight congratulating Barbadian disc jockey Andre DJ Puffy Paris on winning the 2016 Red Bull Freestyle World Championship in Chile. Shane Jones reports.
Minister Lashley praised the 25-year-old DJ for a job well done. He says DJ Puffy has been blazing the trail for quite a while on the international scene and has really taken this genre of creativity to a new height. Mr. Lashley, who noted the significance of the win to Barbados, says, quote, DJ Puffy represents and is part of the growing cultural industry sector in the island, end quote. He says his success really speaks to where we can go in relation to the cultural industries and in relation to culture. In light of the many benefits that could be gained from the win, Mr. Lashley stressed that culture must be taken more seriously in terms of what it can do. He adds that DJing is an emerging sector of entertainment that is going places and would produce significant earnings. Freestyle is a competition that allows disc jockeys to showcase their skills, technicality, originality, and creativity. Shane Jones, CBC News.
Well, children from as young as 5 years old are presenting with signs of mental illness in Barbados. So says psychiatrist Dr. June Price Humphrey, and while unable to give exact statistics, she says the ages of children who she sees vary.
I think right now the youngest is 5 years old. That's a child with some behavioral problems. But we go all the way up to 16, 17, 18. I would say the majority of our children are in the adolescent range, but they're quite a significant number of primary school age children who come to the clinic.
There are various signs of mental illness in children, which Dr. Price Humphrey says people should be aware of and not ignore.
Some children become withdrawn, they stop talking, stop interacting with their peers or their families. There are other children who act out, so they become more aggressive or tearful or anxious, or maybe say things or do things they wouldn't usually do. Some children also injure themselves, so whether they cut themselves or do other things that are potentially harmful, like substance abuse, one of the things that we see quite often.
4 people involved in an accident at Lancaster St. James are all nursing injuries. The jaws of life was required to cut free the female driver of the Nissan March where the airbag was deployed. She and her male passenger received minor lacerations about the legs and were taken to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Meanwhile, the female driver of the Grand Vitara and her male passenger sought private medical attention for their cuts and bruises. The accident, which occurred 10 minutes after 1, caused a minor diversion on the highway. The 29-year-old St. Michael woman charged in connection with the discovery of guns at the Bridgetown port has been remanded to prison. Sky Yasmin Lucretia Murray of Perry Gap, Roebuck Street, appeared before Magistrate Fredericks in the District A Magistrates Court earlier today. Murray, who is charged with importation and possession of firearms, will reappear in court on January 16th. Now, police reports indicate that Murray went to the port to clear a barrel labeled personal effects last Thursday. During a search by customs enforcement officers, 5 disassembled firearms were discovered concealed amongst foodstuff in the barrel. The matter was reported to the police. Murray was taken into custody and subsequently arrested and charged. Meantime, the St. Lucian who appeared in court on drug charges was ordered to pay $15,000 forthwith or face 2 years in prison. 40-year-old Alfred Simeon was nabbed at the Grantley Adams International Airport last Tuesday with cocaine in his underwear. Simeon arrived on a flight from St. Lucia, and after clearing immigration, he was stopped and interviewed by police. Suspicions prompted a search by customs officials of his luggage and person. Now, that search revealed 2 transparent wrapped packages containing powdered cocaine concealed inside of his underwear. Simeon was taken into custody by the police and later referred to the QEH, where he passed out 14 taped packages containing cocaine. As a result, he was charged with possession with intent to supply, trafficking and importation of 1 kilogram of cocaine, all with a street value of nearly $60,000. He was fined on the possession and importation charges and convicted, reprimanded and discharged on the intent to supply and trafficking offences. He appeared before Chief Magistrate Christopher Birch. We'll have more news in just a moment. Stay with us.
Digicel, we know what you want. Better prices, better entertainment, better gifts with the most gifted network. This Christmas season, Digicel invites you to get gifted. Download My Digicel app for more information. Come into any Digicel store. Make your Christmas wishes come true. Digicel.
We store just got even better. Come on in. Come down to the new renovated People's Market in Tudor Bridge with bigger aisles and even more in store. All your general grocery needs. A whole new fruits and vegetables section. Beer, wine and liquor. A wide selection of meat and fish. And everything for your outdoor chilling and barbecue grilling. But most of all, everything at low prices. Right, Miss Evans?
That's right, Ma. And now we have the People's Mall too.
Peoples, come on down to the People's Market in Tudor Bridge.
Well, Barbadians will be shopping for a little more than Christmas presents over the next few days. Today, the Barbados Lotteries announced that the next Mega 6 jackpot will be a staggering $2,655,000. Even though the previous jackpot was won last week, a winning ticket for $2.28 million from earlier this year that wasn't claimed was added to the pot. Make history a compulsory subject once again in schools. That was the call from Deputy Director of the Barbados Museum and Historical Society, Kevin Farmer. He says without history, many of the accomplishments we celebrate today would carry less significance. He made reference to homegrown DJ Puffy's recent win at the Red Bull Freestyle World Competition.
That masterful set played over the weekend in Colombia used our songs, used our music, used our nuanced understanding and intertwining of the polyrhythms that is us, and that would not have been possible without history. So for me, history is core and fundamental, as is English and mathematics.
Meanwhile, Director of the Museum and Historical Society, Alessandra Cummins, says since the area has become a World Heritage Site, more Barbadians are showing interest in the museum's offerings. She believes this could boost the heritage tourism sector.
Whenever we have had talks, we've had programs, educational programs, we've had tours, we have developed many different tours. These are eagerly taken up. Largely, I would have to say, by the Barbadian community. So we are very pleased about that process. The process of tourism development is one that is associated with it. Once Barbadians prove the value of World Heritage, tourists will be happy to join.
Still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region. But first, here's a tip from Coverley Medical Center.